Hey, what's up my friends? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Victor and I help people navigate through their awakening process. Today I'm going to talk about the hypersensitivity phase of the awakening. The hypersensitivity phase is not a real phase. It's something I just label as the time when someone is going through where they suddenly become incredibly sensitive to the stimuli in their life experience. Usually at this time is when people get on Google and try to find out what the heck is going on with me. Something is happening, something's not right, I'm not right, there's something going on here and I'm gonna feel unsettled until I get to the bottom of it. It's because most of us can look back at our life and say, you know what, I was sensitive. In retrospect, I was always sensitive, always somewhat empathic, but now it's taken to it's a whole nother ball game here, and now it's a legitimate life issue that I don't know how to contend with because it's never happened to me. No one else seems to be talking about it, so what the hell do I do? So real quick, I'll briefly explain more details about the hypersensitivity phase of awakening so you can sort of identify if you're going through it, and then the remainder of the video will be me sharing some tips that'll help you help you manage it in your everyday life until it passes, as it does. So, as you can expect, the hypersensitivity phase of awakening is where you become suddenly incredibly sensitive to everything. Not only what's commonly talked about. It's very common now to talk about being an empath. You know, a lot of you are discovering that you're really sensitive to other people's moods, energies. You feel them as if they're your own. And this is kind of kicked up a notch. You feel your own emotions way more intensely, where they're just so loud and consuming that it takes real effort to not let them just completely distort your communication and your decision making, because it's such an obnoxious, intense physical experience, your own emotions. You'll have this same sensitivity to other things as well, like food. You might find yourself all of a sudden unable to stomach or process heavier foods, lower vibration foods like your meats and like just your processed junk foods and artificial sweeteners and alcohol. Like all those kind of things start to really mess with your system in a very noticeable way. You become also sensitive to anything with even a trace of negativity, even like television shows that you might not have. You've just been watching them, like a lot of the popular ones are sort of darker content. You might have really been into it and enjoying it, and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, this is so dark, man. I don't want. You can just feel the underlying energy of the TV show, and it's like rubbing off on you. It's making you feel really dark yourself, and it's just, your life becomes such a you become so connected to the energy of things, and this is just it's taken to another level, and it's usually a big jump, and you just don't know how to handle it. This is usually when people, they go on like they start kicking out meat, and they go on like they get into like the vegan dieting, and they don't want to go out in public because it's just too much. A lot of people find themselves not wanting to work, not wanting to do anything except sit at home and read about what's happening with them. That is fascinating. You find yourself just binge watching stuff on YouTube, blogs, books about light workers and star seeds and waking up and meditation and yoga and like all this. Your mind is just blown open to all this new information that's just becoming like all you want to do. The rest of the world becomes just a massive burden, just something to contend with and fight up against, and you just want to kind of live in your own little sanctuary, your own little bubble, reading about the spiritual stuff. Can you relate? I know I can. I took this to the extreme. During this phase, I moved. I got out of my job. I wasn't working. We rented a house in South Florida, and I stopped eating all meat, fish, dairy, I stopped eating cooked food. I stopped eating anything non-organic. At one point, I was on a freaking liquid diet. Like, I was just juicing all the time. Juicing and like some light fruit smoothies. And I was just so purified and rarefied, and it was a mess. But that all was appropriate because there was so much more new energy coursing through my body, causing me to be so sensitive to my environment, to foods, to people, that I just gravitated naturally away from things that caused that feeling of like dissonance and heaviness. And before you knew it, I was like this guy who just stayed inside all the time, hardly eating. I lost like 30 pounds, like over 30 pounds lighter than you see me now. I was just like this I was like a different little person. And I eventually kind of came out of that, re-entered the real world, you could say. I apologize. I can see the lighting's not that great. I'm sorry, guys. It's not my normal time for shooting videos. Hopefully it's not too much of a problem. I lost my train of thought now. I was saying I re-entered the world, and for a time I thought, wow, that was just a big, crazy tangent you went on there, Vic. You look at your job, you just did all these weird things, and now you're like going back into the world. I can see now that it's a pattern that a lot of people go through. A lot of people call me up when they're going through this, and I don't know exactly why. I suspect it was some sort of like energy detox I went through, and a lot of people find themselves going through this as well. But anyway, so that's kind of the essence. What I described in the first half of the video is like the hypersensitivity phase of the awakening. And now I'll go ahead and give you some tips that'll help you manage it as best you can. A lot of you guys maybe can't just stop going to work or stop going around people, and maybe you don't have a lot of control over what you eat. You're staying with people. I don't know. So anyway, I know a lot of you don't have the luxury of just kind of hanging out through this, and you got to live your life during. This video is going to help you with that. I'll give you a few tips now. Number one is to listen to your body. Your body is going to tell you loud and clear exactly what is appropriate. Minimize as best you can doing anything that does not resonate. And you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, because your body will kick up reactions to anything it doesn't resonate with. Again, people, food, situations, ideas, anything. You'll start to perceive, because you're so sensitive, the heaviness and the lack of vibrational compatibility of any potential thing in your life, and you just get away from the things that don't resonate. At the same time, I found this impossible to do perfectly. I found myself so sensitive that unless I literally just isolated myself in some mountain and didn't eat food, it was an impossibility for me to completely avoid anything that didn't feel pleasant. As you come out of it, you'll find that you still have that sensitivity. You just aren't so reactive to it. You can perceive something as not compatible energy without the, oh my God, I can't take it. It won't be so obnoxious, and you'll be able to, again, you don't eventually have to close yourself off or anything. You'll just learn, you just won't be, again, so reactive to all the new data you're receiving. So anyway, tip one, listen to your body. Do your best to steer away from foods, people, situations, jobs, as best you can that aren't ideal, because you're going through this crazy ass energetic upgrade right now, and you're gonna get through it regardless, but it could be less uncomfortable if you can do step one to the best of your ability. Step two, or number two, is goodbye for now isn't always goodbye forever. So maybe you're eating a favorite meal and you're like, I can't do it. It's making me sick. I throw up whenever I eat this. And maybe I have this, I like to go to this cardio kickboxing class at the gym, and it's draining me completely, zapping my energy. It's so negative, and people's emotions are all over the place there. Maybe you're watching a TV show and you're like such a huge fan of this TV show for your whole life, and it's like the last season, you're like, I just can't watch this. It's giving me freaking nightmares. I'm an adult. Goodbye for now to all that. Does not mean you're always going to be so sensitive. For a while, in the beginning, you're hit with sudden sensitivity, and that sensitivity only grows. So you see there's like a pattern. I'm only becoming more and more and more and more sensitive. And the more, ironically, the more you purify your body, yourself, your life, the more sensitive, the more open you become. So you get this impression that it's just gonna get you're gonna keep getting so sensitive that who knows what the hell's gonna happen. But it's not like that. You will adjust, and you'll be able to kind of come back up and find yourself being redrawn to those things that you for a time had to give up. Maybe it's caffeine, maybe it's a certain food, maybe it's people, maybe it's music. You'll find yourself intrigued by those things when the time is right and when it's more appropriate to be in your life. So goodbye for now doesn't mean it's gone forever. I thought that was the case because it lasted for me a few years of this increased sensitivity, and then I got to a point where I realized I couldn't sustain myself like that, and I think it was just also the right energetic timing, and I found myself kind of just finding myself, and I was real curious, why am I craving this food? I thought I can't eat that. I had written that off as yuck, I don't do it. And yet I feel like I want it. My body needs it. I also had this with music. Wow, this music that for a while I was like, oh, Illuminati, too dark, I can't do it, yuck. It's like, you know what? I dig it. I can listen to it without being so consumed by the negativity, and now I judge it differently, and actually it gets me motivated and has a very positive effect on my state of being. So I'm going to reintroduce that. So goodbye for now is not goodbye forever, so don't worry. Thirdly, and I say this a lot, but it really does go a long way, but really just accept and honor the phase of development you're in. Trust me when I say this, there's a lot of people that go through this exact thing you're going through, and I know it's an inconvenience. I know your life isn't going to stop just because you going through this awakening, but the fact is it's happening. You are oversensitive. You are having to make a lot of changes, put in a lot of time and energy to areas that you never even considered requiring your time and dedication, but it is what it is. And if you can just kind of accept that, I'm going to be going through this for some time now, who knows, a few months, a year, 2 years, I don't know. Things do seem to be happening at a very much accelerated speed, so I can't give you any time frames, but for a while, you're going to go through a period where you're adjusting to all this new energy. The main symptom is all this sensitivity to everything, and in the meantime, just do your best. You might be busy for a while. I remember when I was doing the raw food thing, how inconvenient that was. I remember visiting family and being starving, driving around from grocery store to grocery store looking for organic fruit, and that was just one example of a million different inconveniences that I went through because I was so sensitive to the alternative. I would rather be starving and eat something that resonated with me than eat something that made me feel like crap for 3 days or made me throw up or something. So I know it's a big pain in the butt. It really is. It was for me, and it might be for you as well. But you know what? It goes away, and I can look back, and I almost have nostalgia because there was a lot of aspects of it that were quite exciting, like the whole coming into the new information that you're a spiritual, divine, eternal soul, going through a mass ascension with a lot of other cool spiritual people on the planet. A lot of cool shit enters you at this time. Just not to mention just the mere realization that there's so much more to your life, to you, than you previously thought, than you can even perceive. And the mystery of life is reborn and rekindled within you. There's so much awesomeness. And again, I look back at it, I got way off track there, and I look back and I kind of miss that excitement. Because now all that stuff I just talked about is I'm more used to it now. I'm not so awestruck by any of it anymore. And I can tell a lot of you are the people talking to me, and it reminds me of those the old days. But also, now I'm really sensitive, but I can handle it. You become very master. You learn to master and hone the new energy. And even though it's a pain in the butt for a little while, it's wow, this is quite a blessing to be so perceptive and have such a much easier time of knowing exactly what to do, when to do it, how to do it, knowing when to back off. You'll become a master of all this sensitivity. You'll become really good at utilizing it. Lastly, give it time. I kind of insinuated this at other parts of the video, but give it time. It does go away. It won't be like this forever. Even though you might be able to detect a trend, it won't take you long before you realize that there is no predicting this. That just because you seem to be going in a certain direction, your life can turn on a dime, and it will many times. This hypersensitivity phase that is so just so challenging and so off-putting. This is where a lot of people, again, are like, they know they're going through something, and they're not finding information, and it's a very real experience. It's very real, very disruptive. It can be anyway, but it goes away. It's a phase. You'll adjust to the energy, and you'll look back and say, wow, that was inconvenient, but you know what? I'm a different person now. I have more energy now. I sleep better. I have more compatible friends. I found balance and peace in my life. I can close my eyes and breathe, and I can feel nothing. I can feel stillness. Whereas for a while, when I would do that, I would breathe in and, oh, you're aware of all your crap, all your emotional heaviness. That starts to dislodge itself and fade away. And all that's left is you, energy, consciousness. And you feel very, very good a lot of the time. So hang in there, keep doing your thing, listen to your body, and I'll see you in the next video. Have an amazing day. Thank you for putting up with the lighting. Thank you for putting up with my sporadic upload frequency. Normally, I prefer to do videos every day. It's been hard. I'm up in like the Upper Peninsula in Michigan. I've been traveling around all summer. It's starting to like kind of bog me down a little bit. It's just been kind of challenging, but I certainly intend to get back on track with that ASAP. So again, thank you everyone for your patience. Thank you for your support and your love and your likes and comments and shares. I will see you very soon. I swear, I hope it's tomorrow. But if not, it'll be very soon. Have an amazing day. Namaste.